brotherhood language approaching conversation kinetically about fiction. This is Black as
Yeah, great choice. I'm with that. I'm with that. P, what you got? What you got? Since you laced him, what you got for yourself?
So, so you guys already hit two of my top, so I'm gonna skip those two. So Batman is one of my top, and Assassin's Creed is one of my top. So I'm gonna skip those two. But I'm gonna bring up another fighting game, the Def Jam fighting game series.
Hey, hold up, hey man. Look, hey bro, listen, bro. I want to hug you right now, man. I really want to hug you right now. Like, no one understood how nice that game was. Like,
right?
The mechanics of the game. Yes.
The first one was good. It was really good. I think the storyline was okay. Like, here's a bunch of rappers. They're in a fight club for whatever reason. But, but the mechanics of it, the animations, the art style was amazing. Then they went into Fight for New York, and they just upped everything. The creative characters, because the first one you had to pick from like 4 generic characters. And then they gave you a creative character, and the creative character was so well put together. And then you got your fighting style, and then you picked a second fighting style, and you could like merge and like you train. And then just the way they brought the rappers in, they brought everyone's different personalities in, and it just everything they added to it was so good. And then Snoop plays such a good fucking villain. Like with that fucking hat, just like you look like a vampire walking out and shit, and like some kind of vampire pimp. And it was just vampire pimp. It was just so. It's just everything about that game was great. And then even when I took it to the PS3 and that third Def Jam game that was just called Def Jam, that one it went away from the original games, but it brought its own unique style to the point where the like whoever the character you're using had a signature track, and as your momentum, as you were winning, your track started playing in the background. And if your track was playing, you did more damage. And if you did combos to the beat, you did more damage. And then like if you were losing and you were able to get a minute, you could do that DJ turntable scratch and swap to your song and try to make a comeback. So I mean, it was just like everything. Like I just love everything they put in that game. And there's a rumor that they're doing another one.
I think that's fact, bro.
you know one of my favorite parts about that game is a Wu-Tang song that got released that ain't nowhere else but on that fucking game. And back when LimeWire was out, I was able to rip it and get a copy of that shit. It's a Wu song that go.
Whoa. Which,
you know what I'm talking about? Are you ready? Strapped in your seat, and you got actually kills it on that shit.
Oh, okay. Wait. This is funny.
Yes, because you know how I feel. You know how I feel.
But listen,
you guys ever heard this song?
No, but relax.
Yeah.
Hey, let me translate for Pete real quick. It's not an exclusive song. It's on You Guys' album. Just no one's ever heard You Guys' album except for me. So I've heard the song. I know the song. As soon as you said it, I said, I know what that is. That's Golden Arms. But I know he hasn't seen or listened to Golden Arms because he fucking hates You Guys.
I can't stand You Guys, man. I mean, all right, but he, you know.
Oh man, that's so
okay.
funny.
So really quick, well, on the subject of Wu-Tang, one of my honorable mentions. It's not a franchise, but that Wu-Tang fighting game that came out for the PS1. I have it.
Yeah,
dude. It's still like the storyline is cheesy as fuck. It's the Wu-Tang's Sifu who trained them in martial arts all these years. He was basically Splinter, and they were the Ninja Turtles. Gets kidnapped and taken to China. And they got to fight their way from New York to China. But gameplay-wise, the way the arena combat, because you could play 4 fighters on one.
Exactly.
It was a 3D 4-player arena. Yep. And then like the way they did the fatalities were depending on like you had to unlock the other fatalities, but depending on how whatever hit. So if you did a high punch that you killed them, it would do a different animation for each different like whatever the last hit was. And then each character's fighting style was so different. Like Old Dirty Bastard has the drunken style, and he would do that freaking stuff. Yeah. Yep. And Inspector Deck had the fingers. He was.
Hey, Master Killer was the nicest dude on that game though, and he had the best fatalities. The shittiest dude, Wu-Tang, had the best fucking player in that game. but
didn't that one have an exclusive song? Yeah, because there was that one song that played.
Yeah,
maybe that's the one I'm talking about. That might have been what I'm talking about.
You Guys' track was on there, and there were two other, like, at that point they were exclusive tracks. The story behind that game is there was a game called Thrill Kill. Right. That was 4-player Mortal Kombat 3D. If Power Stone and Mortal Kombat came together on a shitty budget, that's what Thrill Kill was. Yep. And they couldn't get the game cleared. So the company went to Wu and said, listen, how do you feel about this? And sure enough, that's how we got here and we talked about it. Because the game was legit. It was 4 players. Yeah. It was Wu. Like I was in. We was in. We get down on that all day. So
you know why Thrill Kill was shut down though? Why they were like, nope. After like with all the violence and everything?
I don't remember. I thought it was the budget, bro.
No, most of the characters were BDSM style characters. Yes. It was like it had super sexual overtones. They didn't care about the violence, but it was super sexual. Everything was like super sexual and like all kinds of like whips and chains and and so I mean even to the point who had the microphone with the whip?
Was that Jizza? I
think it was Jizza. It was Rizza or Jizza, one of the two. No.
I don't remember. It's been a while. I don't remember.
But you know what I'm talking about. But so that one, it was initially a dominatrix character that had the whip, and they just swapped the skins, and then we got we got Wu-Tang.
I didn't buy the game because we was burning games. That we had the oven.
We was. You had to hold the PlayStation open and switch this real quick.
Yeah, you heard it go when it made that. Yeah,
we had the upgraded chips, bro. We had the yeah. All right, but I like how you snuck in too right there. That's real smooth, Pete. The real press start. We know where you at, bro. Long freeway. So I'm gonna throw a curveball because that's what I do. No one's played any of these games. I already know that, but Saga Frontier is I'm putting number 4, and it didn't sell well. But in the first game, they were the first ever RPG where you could learn moves in mid-combat. And that was mind-blowing at the time. And then in the second game, how do I put this? I had never seen a game kill the main character midway through, 1. And then 2, you know how they tell you something in the story of like, oh, this character is affected by this, and they have to do that in the story. This was the first game I ever saw that actually play out in the gameplay itself, where like that's something you had to pay attention to. And I didn't at first, and Brian knows this part of the story. Pete, the boss, the first time I played the Saga Frontier 2 boss, I played it for over 4 hours, one boss fight. And I lost. I fucking lost. And let me see if I can summarize this real quick, because I'm gonna talk about the third game real quick. But the main character was this this prince that got kicked out of his kingdom because he couldn't pass his bar mitzvah. Like he needed to be able to create energy through the family crested sword, because that's the ritual to pass on the kingdom. He failed, and the king was like, "You're not my son, you're not my seed, get the fuck out of here." And then the mom stepped in and she was like, "Whoa, you can't do that. That's your child. What are you doing?" And he looked at her and said, "Bitch, you can get it too. Get the fuck out." And he kicked them both out. and the son never let it go. And so he knew he couldn't do this magical thing. So he started making weapons. All his weapons was steel. He had these big ass weapons. They was all steel, and he was making them by hand. And he went around taking every piece of the country by himself. He went on like Genghis Khan type of role. Like he started taking this country and this country. And then he brought it all back, but then he dies midway through the game and you're playing with the second character. When you get to the end, if your characters don't have on his steel, all your top shit doesn't work. But they never tell you this. You got to figure it out while you're in there. And that's how I lost 4 hours playing that dude. Because I was maxed out with all the best shit, but it was all like, enchanted this and magic at this. Yeah. So when I switched everybody to steel, not gonna lie, it was done in 4 minutes. I got the whole edit. I was so mad and happy at the same time. So that's what Saga Frontier 2 gave me. And then the third one, really fucked the third one because they made me fight 17 bosses in a row with the one black character in the game. And I did it. I fucking did it. But no other character had to fight 17 in a row, and no other character was black. It was racial. It was fucking racial. It's not about diversity. But I had a great time doing it because I'm a masochist. So thank you, Saga Frontier. And that's my rant on Saga Frontier. So, yeah. All right, B. Let's keep rolling. Let's get into you. What's your next one? What you got?
Again, these ain't in order, but I have a tie between 2K and Call of Duty, but it's for different reasons. I mean, it's for similar reasons. I mean, they did totally different games, but for similar reasons.
Wow. Okay.
You know me. I love when motherfuckers take shit over. Now, I don't know. Now, 2K been out for 21 years at this point, but 2K is the reason why NBA Live don't exist no more. And Live was the game. Live was the game we was all fucking with when we were shorties. Like, we played Live. Like, every time Live came out, we was playing that shit. 2K comes along. And niggas was like, fuck that. Another thing, 2K came out with a football game that was giving Madden the fucking business. And I don't remember exactly when that shit came out, but 2K came out with a football game. It had to have
1999.
Okay.
1999.
It was giving Madden the fucking business. And then, John made a phone call like, no, we're not doing this shit. And they shut it down. But
boom.
Right. 2K, that 2K football game was actually, in my opinion, that year between 2K and Madden, it was a lot more user friendly. It wasn't no bullshit cheating shit going on. Madden be cheating. Like Madden cheats. Madden's one of the cheatingest ass games I've ever seen.
Madden fucking be cheating,
Madden
bro.
cheats like a motherfucker.
You still cheat, he says every game cheats.
He said every game. No, Madden cheats, my nigga. No, Madden is bad. Like I seen the dude basically get tackled and throw the ball and hit a nigga at 60 touchdown. Madden be bullshit. But
no, Madden be bullshit for real.
2K came out with that football game. They were shutting shit down, and I know there was some phone calls made to shut that down because that game was too dope to not have any extra ones come out. So that's why I fucks with 2K because, like, I mean, I played ball. I almost played in college, whatever. And so I've always been a ball player. But besides that, like, just the way 2K was, it's like they got a monopoly on that particular sport. Ain't nobody really fucking with that. And Live has tried to come out. It's trash. It's trash. Like they giving it to you for free right now. Like niggas don't like it keeps coming out and they just give it away. You know what I'm saying? They give it away. It's like a package deal. You go to a Clipper game, they give you NBA Live for free. Like the shit, you know what I'm saying? It's trash.
Oh, that's funny.
Right. Okay. So Key said it. EA bought the whole NFL license to stop 2K from making that fucking.
That's how good that game was.
That's how good that shit was. That shit was a fucking man. That shit was cold. If I still had it, I'd probably still rock with it. I would still rock with it.
EA likes fucking over gamers, so.
Yeah, and microtransactions and all that shit. And I say the same thing. I say the same thing for Call of Duty.
EA could eat a bowl of baby dicks.
I say the same thing for Call of Duty as far as what it's done with its competitors, in the sense that there are games that you could argue are better than Call of Duty iterations. You can say that, like but Call of Duty is like that solid B plus every time. And there's games that be A.
Consistent.
Right. There's games that be A, but Call of Duty has like man, legions and legions of loyal fucking followers, man. Like they ain't going nowhere, Joe. They release the same shit over and over and over and over again. They tweak it a little bit, but it's basically the same shit. And they kill the game. Like they kill the game. Battlefield ain't fucking with it. I like Battlefield. Battlefield ain't fucking with, like, none of those are really keeping up with it. They just keep fucking going and going and going. You know, they straight like dynasties, man. Like dynasties, man.
Yeah.
Like 17 championships and looking for more type shit. Like, nigga, it's crazy. It's crazy.
You can't deny what Call of Duty's done at all. Well, be it Infinity Ward, be it Treyarch, be it Sledgehammer, they do a great job with them.
See, that's how. Like, I've never been a COD guy, but like I knew it was gonna be like, if it wasn't Infinity Ward, I knew it was like, you know, it was some masterpiece shit. Because Infinity Ward was the main guys that was like making the Call of Duties. Like, you really had to check the label when it came to COD. Like, who's is it?
You know what?
If anything Treyarch made, I was not fucking with at all. No way.
I'm the opposite.
Really?
I was the opposite until the latest Modern Warfare. The latest Modern Warfare, Infinity Ward just upped everything they could do. This new Black Ops, Treyarch did it, and it because the first two Black Ops were amazing. I loved them. They were my favorite Call of Duty games. This last Modern Warfare was really good, and then the new Black Ops is like, I've gotten more used to it, so I'm liking it now. But Modern Warfare right out the box, I was loving it.
Oh yeah,
right on.
It was
right
the
on.
prequel. It was technically the prequel to the other ones, right?
Well, once they killed off Ice Cube, I was done. So.
All right, Brian, I gotta commend you. You finessed like 3 games into that one. That's a PS5 move right there. Congratulations.
It is. It's all those extra gigs. Look at all those.
He said 2K. Gigs. He said 2K, right? As long as I have more, like 2K ball, 2K football, 2K da da da. But all right, Pete, what's your next one? What you got? Where you at?
So since you guys already called up 2 of mine, I'm gonna give you one of my honorable mentions. It's not an actual franchise, but it's one of my favorite games of all time, and it literally, like, part of the inspiration of my logo for the TRPS. And if you actually, when you go check out our website or you check us out on Spotify, our logo, that Blame Video Games, comes directly from this game.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
From Mark Echo's Getting Up. It was a tagging game, all about, you played a character named Coltrane, who he was just a nobody in his neighborhood, and he started tagging train everywhere. Then he goes and hits up in this pool, and then like the government is trying to censor it. I think the storyline's based on an older movie that, like, the guy's brother gets locked up, and this guy goes and starts tagging free whatever his brother's name is everywhere. It's very 1984, where like everything's being watched, and the police are what is it, the KGB, and everything's super locked down. Everyone's being super watched. And this one kid is just able to get around and climb over. It was like it had the parkour element to it, platforming. Then it had the tagging element to it as well. And one of the things I liked was it wasn't just like, here's a cursor, swipe around. No, like you actually, like, you had to shake. No, you didn't have to shake the controller, but you had to do something. You had to like shake like the can, and like so you could spray. And then like as you were tagging, you had to keep shaking the can. If you held too long, you would drip. And like it actually. That's what I used to do. I used to be out on the streets hitting up pieces on the freeways and shit. So playing that game was so accurate, and it was so good. And then like it had P. Diddy was he was the voice of one of the main antagonists, or your main rival. He wasn't the main antagonist of the game, but he was your main rival. And it was such a good game. The storyline was so good. Gameplay was so good. and then like, you met all these graffiti legends as you played. These guys actually worked with the developer and worked with Mark Echo, and like,
wow, I didn't know that.
All of Train's graffiti was actually like it wasn't like this generic just bullshit graffiti that was everywhere. It was like really good shit. And then on top of that, they added the multiplayer fighting game first, like because the combat was really good. And they added where you could pick different characters from the game and fight one-on-one with somebody else, like sofa multiplayer. And it's just one of those games I highly recommend.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Now, it took me a minute when you said it, but I was like, oh yeah, but I never got into it. The closest I got to was Jet Grind Radio, which I think was a more friendlier version. It wasn't as that was more contemporary. That was a bit more Disney.
Yeah, it was more cartoony, and yeah, and that one too. That one had really good like on the Dreamcast at least. You could upload your own pictures, and they'd come out super grainy, but you could make your own graffiti in it.
I didn't know that, bro. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Dreamcast was fuck Sega. I cannot. God damn it. Oh God.
Sega Dreamcast brought us the first 2K, so
your entire category of number 3 came from the Dreamcast. All right. It's my turn. You know what? I gotta do it. Resident Evil.
Woo!
Resident Evil.
Yes, sir.
There was nothing like number 1. And they found a way to flip it and make it even better with number 2. Like when they did the Leon and the Claire, you had the splits story, and what you did in one affected the other. And Leon was on his first day in the job. He's like, why ain't nobody listening to me? I'm about to get this leather jacket in like 10 years. Y'all need to fuck with me. Like, what's going on? Like, and then we used, my friend used to call, that was the first time Mr. X showed up, coming through the fucking door and blasting through the goddamn hallway. They used to call him Shaq back in the day, like with the like, yo, you see Shaq come through? Like, yeah, man, yeah, I did. Fuck him. But and then all the Wesker quotes from like on the PlayStation 2, we make content with Chris in the name just so we can say, Chris, stronger and better and faster. Like he was so ridiculous. He was so over the top. And number 4 is like changed the way you play third-person shooters.
I'm about to start playing that now.
Like let's just and number 4, my handgun game was nice. I had the accuracy with the headshot joint. I pop you in your knee, I knock you down, and I was popping the homies. I had ammo for everybody. Everybody was getting worked. And that game was just, I had a great time with the game. And number 5, and before I go to number 5, in number 4, low key playing the inventory system was a game within the game. I loved trying to make all your shit fit within that little diagram. Like, okay, no, yep. I can get that. I can get the rectangle in there. I can get that new target in there. I'm gonna eat this weed. I'm gonna mix it with this red. I'm gonna get these 4 spots. I'm gonna flip it. It was a game within the game. And I was mad when they changed it in 5 for no reason, because that's what Capcom do. They changed it for no fucking reason. But I couldn't be too mad because that had the co-op. You could get down with your boy on the co-op with in the game with Chris, with going against Wesker. Like, so it's far from perfect, but you're talking about like transcending the genre like 2 times, 3 times over. Like, it's Resident Evil for me.
What do you think about the remakes?
So they look great. Because they all look like Resident Evil 4. I ain't got a chance to really sit down and put a hole in them yet, but trust me, I'm definitely doing 2. And they fucked up the remake for 4. I might just go back to my 4 on PS2 because that's the best one in my opinion. But
8
yeah,
looks
no,
great. 8 looks fucking amazing.
Resident Evil, bro. Yeah. And there's a reason as I talk about because I think I got 2 more. There's a reason why, which I'm bringing all full circle. Brian, what's your next one?
Resident Evil, that was a great choice, man. Like, I actually found, like, back in the day, the old ones with the blocky ass characters, nigga, that shit would scare me. The first time I fought that big ass spider in the first one, nigga, I'm like, you know this shit ain't real, but it's just the way they did it, and for its time, it looked great. You know what I'm saying? And
those creepy loading screens. Every time you open the door, that door just gave you the chills. Like what's next? What's going to be behind the door?
Yeah. And then just the story behind all of that. You know me and the stories. Like, it wasn't just some bullshit zombie shit. It was reasons for the zombies being there. It was reasons for the monsters being there. You know what I'm saying? Umbrella Corporation ain't shit. You know, I really like that was a great fucking choice. Like that I don't know why I didn't think to put that in my list. That should have been on my list. The movies.
Yeah, no. I didn't bring them up for a reason.
I know.
Yeah.
I was just trying to see if there was some way we could slide them in. Not really.
No, not at all.
No.
Not.
And you know, Black AF headquarters has them, but we only watched them like once. You know what I'm saying?
But on 2 was like, I really didn't play 3. I played it a little bit, but 2, man, the scene on the train when you got to get out of the city, and like that ooze is coming to you, and I'll never forget this. The timer's running, and my boys were watching me, like they was in the room watching me do it, and I was on my Christian. I had gun ammo, pistol ammo with no pistol, and I had a Magnum with 6 bullets, and this motherfucker is just creeping up. He's sliding up to me the whole time. and they know, and there's no, I mean, y'all remember the scene, there's no leaving. Like, you gotta go through him. And I'm just like, bow. And it take him a long time to get the shit loaded. And you gotta hit him with the Dirty Harry. And I mean, he got right in my face like this. And I killed that motherfucker just like this. And my boy's like, oh. So yeah, bro. Yeah, it's not a perfect series, but the moments I've had with that, like, nowhere else.
I've already replayed the remakes twice.
Right.
Yeah, them shit's cold, bro. Like, them shit's go.
Even the Dreamcast one was dope, which is slept on too, actually. The one that was exclusive for the Dreamcast. Fuck you, Sega. Fuck you. Yeah. So, Brian, let's go though. This is what you got. We got 2 more apiece. Everybody got 2 apiece.
Me and Pete are gonna agree with this one. But Metal Gear.
Surveys.
Ooh. Metal Gear.
That's my number 1. That's my number 1 all time.
All right, let's do it. Go on, y'all tag team it up. Metal Gear.
Yeah. I'm gonna let him start because I mean, I know Pete would if he given a chance, Pete would give Solid Snake some work. You know what I'm saying? He if given a chance.
You've seen the Naked Snake body pillow, okay?
Yeah, he's got a Naked Snake body pillow in the crib. With the revolver ocelot lotion right next to the bed, brother.
It's not over yet.
It's not over, Snake.
Liquid.
Bro, like,
to me, that game. First off, the main character is based off Snake Plissken from Escape from New York.
Yes, sir.
And David Hayter he embodies that character so well. The voice acting, everything from the first game, I fell in love with it. Nice.
Sir.
He's been flexing all night.
The first game, like everything about it, it was so unique at the time. You'd never seen anything like it. It was a stealth action game, and you paid for your mistakes in that game. And then the fact that if you beat you got dinged for killing people at the end of chapters. Like for killing people, like you would get negative scores. And that changed the way I played games. To this day, if I can play stealth game, like even if it's a full action, like Call of Duty, I'm sneaking around in multiplayer. I'm sneaking around that map trying to get stealth kills on people just because of Metal Gear. It's so ingrained in how I play games now. I love it. And just the fact, okay, you got to collect everything. You start with nothing. You have to procure everything on site. Just the way the story unfolds, and like you think you know where it's going, and all of a sudden it switches up, and it's been this whole setup the whole time. And then the way they did the second one, and like the second one, if like you think you're gonna play a Snake, you play that first chapter of Snake on the tanker, and then all of a sudden you're playing this like blonde pretty boy. Like why?
Right.
And,
right.
And then Snake is on the ship calling himself Iroquois Pliskin, which he's basically saying he's Snake Plissken.
Right.
And then that turning into being, we're just recreating what happened at Shadow Moses. And then the third one, which is most people's favorite Metal Gear game, it's a prequel to even the prior NES games. It's Big Boss. It's Snake, but it's before he became Big Boss, and that one just revolutionized how the games were played. It brought out like with the camo, like you had to like whatever area you were in, you had to change your clothes to fit that area, or you'll be spotted easier. And then just the interactions with the like calling people for help or for advice and stuff. And like at one point in the game, you could take off your shirt, and it's the naked option. And every time you you get a new weapon or new camo, you would call this guy Figgin. And Figgin will tell you like, okay, you just picked up the rocket launcher. That's great for aerial attacks and things like whatever. He would break it down to you. And so when you call him, Snake, where's your shirt? And I took it off. Why? It feels good. There was the option, and I took it off. But it lowers your camo rating, and it does nothing for you. But it feels good. And it's just those tiny, those funny little interactions. And then like he ends it with, is there a way to take off my pants? And then what? And then he just ends the call.
And people sitting there hoping that he said, yeah.
Yeah, take off the pants. Take off the pants.
Your pants.
And then the Metal Gear 4, you go back to, it's a sequel to 3 or a sequel to 2, and your old Snake, he's aged. His aging has been accelerated. He's dying. He has a virus in his blood that's killing everyone that he cares about. And all he wants to do is just die at the end of that game. And from the beginning of that game, you start off, you're this badass soldier killing everything, or doing like just infiltrating and doing what you got to do, to the very end of the game where you're just exhausted and tired, and you feel that. Like, every game has that emotional journey. And to me, 4 is my favorite. It's a perfect game.
Wow.
It's got long cutscenes, but they're amazing cutscenes. They're really good. Like, everything about that game feels amazing. It had one of the best multiplayers of all time. To this day, I feel like it's one of the best multiplayers. It lets you, like, it was a third-person multiplayer shooter, but you had tranquilizer darts. You can tranquilize somebody, creep up on them, like, while they're knocked out, steal all their weapons, and then you had the option to leave them for dead in the battlefield. So I just took all your weapons, and now you just got to run around while everyone's shooting at you. Or you had the option to kill them. You know, and it was such a fun game. 5 hurts me to talk about, because 5 was supposed to be, it's a sequel to 3, and it's supposed to start, this one ends where the Nintendo games start, the original Nintendo game, the Metal Gear games. And at this point, Kojima and Konami were having issues going back and forth, and Kojima just wanted, let me make the game the way I want to make it. And Konami was like, we want you to make the game the way we want you to make it. And so that game's unfinished. Like, once you get to chapter 4, like, you just start replaying old missions. And, like, the storyline kind of goes on, but it's so confusing. It doesn't make any sense. Gameplay-wise, it's great. Gameplay-wise, it feels amazing. It's open world. You can do anything you want in that game, basically. But it's just the story is so fractured, and it shows that they cut the game at the knees. They really did. It has so much potential, and like I still have hope that eventually that'll lead into like them remaking the 2 NES classics in 3D. But that's my ultimate dream. Yeah,
they can get these fingers too. Fuck Konami.
To the point. Okay, so they released after 5. They released Survive, right? Which is garbage. But then they started teasing a new Metal Gear game coming soon.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for information, and it was a fucking Plinko machine. Like those fucking, like in Japan, those are huge. It was a Metal Gear fucking Plinko machine.
Because Konami doesn't make fucking... They don't make games anymore. That's why they get these figures. Pieces of shit. They're sitting on Metal Gear. They're sitting on Zoe. They're sitting on Castlevania. They're sitting on all these classic franchises that we would actually play still. So
that was the thing too with Metal Gear. Going back to the original, when you fought Psycho Mantis and he read your memory card and said, "You like Castlevania, don't you?" What?
Yeah.
If you had a Konami title on your memory card, you would call it up, and the way he analyzed, like, you've only saved 3 times. You're reckless. Like he broke down the way you played the game, and it was like, what? Like, and then the game was just so. And then Metal Gear 4, because you go back to Shadow Moses in 4, and at one point in the first game you have to switch discs because the game is so big, and you get to the point where it's time to switch discs in the first game, and Otacon calls you and says, "Snake, it's time to switch discs," and he goes, "Wait, what am I thinking? This is PS3, Blu-ray. We don't have to do that. Technology is amazing." Like they call that stuff out, which is like, it's so perfect. They break that fourth wall just enough. Like it's like you get real deep in the story, then they break the fourth wall just to draw you back just enough, and then get you right back into it. And it's just like the storytelling and everything on it is just love it.
Hey.
I can legit just go on for an hour.
He can go on for hours with this. So I'm just gonna say it's not even a tag team. This is he's MJ in '88. He's MJ in '88.
I need your tops card then, homie. That's 37, 8, and 9 right there. I know them stats.
Right.
I was gonna say it's Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. I do all the work, and you're gonna come in for the hot take.
I think for me, like I have to agree with Pete. For me, the reason Metal Gear for me was amazing is because it got better and better every game as far as like the actual gameplay and the shit you can do. My favorite story is also part 4. A lot of people a lot of people will say like Snake Eater or whatever, but part 4 was dope. Like seeing Snake actually just really break down and you're just like, damn, man. Like that was I played the original Nintendo shit. So Snake was my guy. Like, so to actually see him get to that point to where he was like dying and exhausted, like, yeah, you feel that shit. And the story is dope. Part 5 was the one, how do I put it? Part 5 was supposed to be the perfect game. And I'd say if, like he said, if they didn't like
get in the way of it.
Right. Part 5 would have been like I actually love part 5, even though it does get to the point to where like the missions are repetitive and shit. I love what you can do in it, gameplay wise. I love what you can do in that shit.
Right. All right, let's I know, Pete's gotta see a guy about a thing. So let's lock all this up in about 5 minutes. I'm going to give my 2 now. And then if y'all got any more, if you got your honorable mentions, we can get to those. So my number 2 is Final Fantasy. My life has never been the same since Final Fantasy VII. I'll just put it to you like that. And the thing, and this is a real quick story before I say the number 1. Me and my friends were rushing to see who could beat that game first, because it was 3 discs. Y'all remember that? And we were rushing to see, and I got to Sephiroth first. And no one had seen what I had seen up until this point. And he's you had the matches where you split up. You had your team over here and your team over here, and then you met, and then you had to go fight Sephiroth. And then the screen goes black, and then the music starts playing. And I had PTSD from a fucked up PlayStation. So I was like, oh shit, it's cracking again. It's going down again. Not right now. And then it came back on. And then you hear and then this motherfucker just he goes dawning down. And it's like, oh my goodness. Like, I couldn't believe what was going on. And that's when I found out, well, Pale Horses and Supernova, and that was it. And it was over for me. My last one, and this is to bring it all full circle.
Hold on, before you go there though, with Final Fantasy, did you play any of the other ones, or was it just?
Bro, 7 got me playing. I played 7 twice because of that shit. And then I played Tactics. Tactics blew my mind. Final Fantasy Tactics, like, that blew my mind. And then I played 8. I worked that out. I played 9. I worked that out. I even played 10. Damn. I worked that out. I think 11 was the first online one. I played 12. And 12 was at the end. Yes, thank you, Key. 12 was at the end of the PlayStation 2 run, but they knew how to maximize the engine at that point. That game was beautiful. And I don't know if you played it, but as a story guy, yeah, you would love 12. Like, you would love 12. Like, the story was phenomenal. And they had changed the gameplay. Like, yeah, it was that's probably the best one in terms of like gameplay, graphics, and narrative, in my opinion. I know the other ones have gone more MMO, and I know you played the last one with the boy band, but
what, 15?
Yeah, I didn't play. I got out of it after a while because they kept going back to 10 with the 10-2, and they was moving in a different direction. But
then there was the one with the dude to play soccer or some shit. No, I never played it.
Yeah, and that game was whatever. Like, no, all jokes aside, everything that I liked about that game was in the side stuff, the side quests, the side stories, but everything about the actual game, that didn't matter. I'm gonna keep talking. Black as fuck, all day, every day. Shout out to Dank Tank. Last but not least, for me, it's my number 1 is Mega Man. And it goes back to the Resident Evil thing, because everybody knows my favorite all-time franchise is Devil May Cry. But if there's no Mega Man, and if there's no Resident Evil, I never get Mega Man. I never get Devil May Cry. I never get Devil May Cry. Mega Man was the first game from a side-scrolling that made it, they gave value to every boss that you fight. Choose your own adventure. And then who you fought changed the strategy of who you went to fight the next time. And it incorporated, oh, I can beat this dude and get a weapon. No other game had done that at that point, which is the base for what Devil May Cry is. When you beat the boss, you get the weapon from them. That came from Mega Man. Resident Evil. Anybody that's played DMC1, DMC1 is a buggy Resident Evil for the PlayStation 2. That's what that game originally was. And they maximized it from there. And if it wasn't for those 2 entities, I never get Devil May Cry 1. I never get 2. I never get 3, even though 2 and 4 are trash. But I never get Bayonetta, the real DMC 2. So Mega Man is there are a lot of action games that I never play that I love if there's no Mega Man. Mega Man 2 and 3 and 4, I burned them out. I worked them out. 9 and 10, I worked them out. X1, 2, and 3, and 4, worked them out. 0 all day. Fuck Mega Man. I'm Proto Man. I'm 0. I got the Mega Man RPG on PS2. That shit's underrated. Mega Man. So Mega Man was on number 1. My honorable mention outside of this, Legacy of Kain, for sure.
Woo!
And Sonic the Hedgehog, fam. Those are my 2 honorable mentions. Sonic the Hedgehog. So
Legacy of Kain, that's a good one. Yes. The whole thing, Soul Reaver, all that together.
All of them.
It all counts. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And to me, that's the Game of Thrones of the games right there. Like if anybody plays that knows that story, like Anne Henning, like, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, but you got one more? Are you good? Where you at? We lost Pete.
We could go all day. We could go all day, but you know what I'm saying? We go all day with games and franchises that I fuck with. Because another one that I would think of, God of War is up there for me. Just because of the story.
Yeah, can't be mad at that. But there's no God of War. If there's no Devil May Cry, and there's no Devil May Cry, there's no Mega Man. So that's why I said Mega Man.
Right. You're right. I didn't even think that far back with Mega Man. But if we starting to go to old systems, Legend of Zelda. Like, I mean, you're talking the story, right? You're talking shit that's been around for since we were shorties, and it's still like out now.
It's still relevant.
I'm gonna tell you. We had the first Legend of Zelda on the Nintendo. We flipped that. That shit was hard. Okay, and then they came out with part 2, which wasn't really a real Legend of Zelda game. They just slapped a name on it. We played it anyway. And then every single iteration of Legend of Zelda that came out, we played it all the way up to now, where they had the one for the Switch. I bought the Switch just for that fucking game.
Yeah, that game, yes.
That shit go. And I flipped it, Breath of the Wild, right. I flipped it and then handed the Switch off with the game to my goddaughter so she could like be introduced to the shit. That like Legend of Zelda is huge. That's for me, it's huge.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but there's so many of those. And then, you know, being writers, you're a writer, I'm a writer. And the type of shit we into when you're talking like sci-fi, fantasy, that kind of stuff, a lot of that stuff was born out of them games. Like that's what kind of turns you into that shit. Like my aunts and uncles and shit, they was into like sci-fi and fantasy movies. But when you actually got to manipulate the main character of a sci-fi or fantasy game, like that's when I really got into wanting to be a storyteller.
Bro, like it took me it took a while for Metroid and Dead Space to come off of this list for me, because like Metroid is the first survival horror. let's just keep it real. And then the surprise ending, like they were doing shit in '86 that nobody else was doing by far.
Right.
And you know, and then Dead Space. One of the reasons why I didn't put Dead Space, because you know they've got 3 games, but the third one is such a disparity from the other ones. It's so different, and that's comes from the Resident Evil third player or third person perspective. So you that's where it came from. But in terms of a narrative in that first one, like, and then the small hint of strategy they put where you had to take out the limbs of the character, you couldn't just pop them. So you had to, it made you think just a little bit about what you was doing, because you did not have a lot of ammo. Because you weren't even you was just a guy that was trying to do your job. And these motherfuckers turned up and started eating your people. And so you had to figure it out. And Dead Space is the story of that series. Dead Space 2 is the action movie of that series. The 3 is the stepchild. Like that's Contra in space. The first 2 were Resident Evil in space. Like you might as well give you a 30-man code in the third one, because that game was just run and gun. Like, they literally gave them guns after having like tools the entire time in the franchise. But no, yeah, Metroid took a while to come off for sure. Well, we hope Pete is safe. We've done this before where wives have snatched our co-hosts. So this ain't our first rendezvous, Pete. We hope you are safe and at home. And we'll be back on the show next Monday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we'll make sure to be more prompt about it. But this is part of your fault because you helped plan this. So, you know, you're not above reproach. We will get into best intros next week. Have your list ready. Have your list ready. Have your list ready. That's gonna be fun. I already got y'all beat. I already know what I'm killing the game with the best intro. Y'all, I'm just gonna play I'm gonna find a mixtape or a disc play or something. But yeah, it's gonna be over. B, before we get out of here, anything you want to say?
Nah,
YouTube.
Man,
You just ready to play your 5?
I'm gonna turn around right there.
Yeah.
Maybe the X.
Yeah.
Maybe the box. Maybe the PS5. Or maybe the PS3. I'm feeling nostalgic. Maybe I'll go back a little bit.
I'm a little envious. What can I say? It is what it is. I'll be back though. You'll see one of these days. Well, thank you for being with Brotherhood Language, approaching conversation kinetically about fiction. We are Black AF. We are Black as fuck, depending on who you are. But we will always be here tomorrow. Not tomorrow. Next week, 6:30 p.m. Monday, Pacific Standard Time. We're gonna get this thing sorted out with the website so y'all can check us out. But we will be back on our website. Thank you, Key, Dank Tank, for showing up. Johnny Patio for coming through. Pete, this is what happens when you try to flex some other logo. You get snatched off. You get kicked out. Like, this is Death Row, son. This is how we do it. That's where it's at. So, yeah. All right, y'all. Peace.
Brotherhood Language, approaching conversation kinetically about fiction. This is Black as Fuck.